no denying that we Americans, compared to the rest of the world, enjoy a pretty high standard of living. Perhaps one of the reasons that we enjoy such a high standard of living is because we hold ourselves to such a high standard. Think about it. We're by nature a driven, achievement-oriented people who strive for excellence and hold those who achieve excellence in very high esteem. And how do we know when we as individuals or as a group have achieved a standard of excellence in our respective field of endeavor? Well, we measure it. We compare ourselves to an established and agreed upon standard. We have standards for everything in this country. Students have grade cards, corporations have profit and loss statements, politicians have polls and elections. And I can tell you from experience that the military cornered the market on standards and measuring stuff. They have physical fitness tests, check rides, operational readiness rates, you name it, the list goes on. Everything a unit or individual does is measured against some standard. Those who achieve excellence are rewarded, and those who fall short, well, you know the deal. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. If you ask me, standards are a good and necessary thing. If it weren't for standards, how would we know what excellence looks like? So, given that measurements and standards are a fact of life, let me ask you, what's the standard of excellence for a church? How high is the bar? What does church excellence look like, and how do we Christians know when we're headed toward achieving it? You know, it's a fair question. After all, everything else under creation is subject to a standard of excellence. Why should our church, be any different? The fact of the matter is that the church, our church, is subject to a standard. A bar that was set 2,000 plus years ago and to this day remains the undisputed standard of church excellence. What's more, it's no secret as to who this standard-setting church was or how their excellence was achieved. It's all spelled out in Acts chapter 2, specifically in verses 42 through 47. Check it out. It says, all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teachings and to the fellowship and to sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions, and they shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. So there you have it. The Acts 2 church, the church that set the bar and for 2,000 years and counting provides the rest of us with an undisputed standard of excellence to shoot for. So just what was it that made the Acts 2 church the undisputed standard of church excellence? You know, as I was studying through these 6 verses, it dawned on me that there were 8 fundamental things that this standard-setting church did with excellence. Number 1, they were a learning church. The people dedicated themselves to learning about God and God's will for them as individuals and as a community of believers. Number 2, based on what they learned, they became a church of fellowship, meaning they learned that God loved them and they loved God back by loving and caring for one another. Number 3, they were a praying church. Pretty self-explanatory. Number 4, they were a reverent church. The church's reverence for God created a climate of awe that spread throughout the community. Number 5, they were an expectant and hardworking church. They expected great things from God, and they worked hard to do great things for God. Number 6, they were a worshiping church. In their church, in their homes, and everywhere in between, they worshipfully lived into the good news of Jesus Christ. Number 7, they were a happy church. The more they learned about God and His goodness, the more reasons they had to rejoice, aka be happy. And number 8, they were a growing church. As a result of their faithfulness to the fundamentals number 1 through 7, the Lord blessed them by adding to their numbers each day people searching for the love, purpose, and meaning that only God's good news could provide. It's no accident that the 8-step journey to church excellence began with learning about God. It kind of makes sense. The more we know about God and God's love for us, the more reasons we have to love God, worship God, and rejoice in the good news that God offers us. As we move toward getting back together as a church family, I believe these are the timeless, never go out of style, basic standards that we should all reacquaint ourselves with, especially as we're prepared to begin a new season of ministry together. And as we do, keep on looking up, keep on loving and caring for one another. God's got this, and we'll see you tomorrow.